What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Tea Talk. I'm just joking. Welcome back to Real Reds Talk, an authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. Now, usually when I do pros and cons, it's a solo show. It's after a game. He's talking about a match performance. Today, we are going to switch it up. That's right. We're going to switch it up. And we're going to bring the same concept to the manager. The pros, the cons, the highs, the lows of why the manager should go or should stay. As we are reportedly, potentially, 24 hours away finding out whether Ten Hag stays or leaves the club officially, and we are here to debate that. So I'm not even going to say hello to the lads on the channel. I'm going to say hello to the wonderful people who've been waiting in the chat. So hello to you lot. Hope you're all good. I can see all the names in there already. Lucky Singh, Charlie Malman, Random Guy, The Angry Jawa, I want to say. I'm not
Star
sure.
Wars, isn't it? Jawa.
Ah, right, okay. I've never watched Star Wars, I have to be honest. No. So, yeah, sue me, whatever. Before we do that, lads, we get into the kind of debate and stuff. What team are we batting for, first and foremost? Let's just get that out there. Or what side of the debate are we going to push?
I think I'm here for balance.
Can I say something about Star Wars? Sorry.
Jesus Christ.
If you like. Yeah.
Okay, now.
It's better than tea, so I'll take it.
No, just the truth. I saw a video of like French people pronouncing the names of Star Wars characters. And if anyone has watched Star Wars, like it completely puts a new spin on the characters. Like Sam, did you watch Star Wars? Sam?
I'm not a fan, but I've seen him, yeah.
So do you know the guy called Chewbacca?
Yes. I think even Nick knows Chewbacca.
Yeah.
Yeah, they call him Chewbacca.
Chewbacca.
Oh, I like that.
I like it.
It just makes it sound so much better.
With like a cigarette. You know, and then long cigarette.
Just like Chewbacca.
Wow, yeah. Chewbacca. And then they say Darth Vader for Darth Vader. I'm like, what the?
Darth Vader?
I need to learn. Yeah. I need to learn French.
I'm gonna
pull so many birds. Honestly.
I'm gonna watch Star Wars with French dubbing. I think that's what I'm gonna do, just to see what it's like. I think it's gonna be a much better experience.
Jabba the Hutt, is that Star Wars?
I'm sure. Well, no one said. Yeah, he is Star Wars. But I'm sure somebody would have. Yeah.
It just makes everything sound better. Maybe we should just do the full fucking show in French and see what people think. Just try put on an accent.
Sorry for throwing you guys off. Yeah.
No, there's no throwing us off whatsoever. Talk about whatever you want, as long as it's not tea. Right, yeah. First off, which team are we batting for? So, Sam, you want to bring the balance, correct?
Yeah. Just to throw the Chivy reference, I'm here to bring balance to the Force, like the Sith and the light.
Was that Star Wars reference?
Yes.
Or is that...
Yes.
Okay. Right.
I thought I'd segue from Star Wars too.
I know. Yeah. By all means, any more segues you've got, go for it. Dan, are you pro Ten Hag? Are you bringing that argument with yourself?
Yeah, I'm really pro.
Okay. And Chewy, just be a hater today, yeah? I'm joking.
Yeah, see, I hate the tag, the Ten Hag out tag.
Mm-hmm. Like, I know.
I'm just making the argument for why.
That's why
would
I've put on the poll. I've not put Ten Hag in or Ten Hag out. I've put Ten Hag should stay. Ten Hag should go. There you go. So just because sorry to derail it again. Did you see the guy who was in the Wembley Stadium with a shirt that said Ten Hag out on the back?
Oh yeah.
What a fucking dickhead. What a dickhead.
Them kind of people that they just stop it. Just fucking stop it. Whatever you're doing. Ten Hag out. Who's gone to a shop, and said, and I asked for the letters, Ten Hag, how much is it going to cost to have Ten Hag out on me? But you absolute gimp. I hate shit like that. Hate it.
Yeah. But you wouldn't be complaining if you had Marshall out, I'm sure. Like, that would be fine.
No, I would. I would.
Come on.
No, I don't think... I know. I don't think you should put anybody... Yeah, Aaron is, Aaron he's got a list of people. Dallo, Martial, who else does he not like? McTominay, Donny. Yeah, he's got a list.
He's got a list.
Yeah, so I'm making the argument of why he should gracefully exit.
There you go.
Let's preempt it with that before people are like, oh my god, I can't believe he wants to. Oh, the dude talking about Star Wars, he gets 100 bonus points. So 100 bonus points already to you, Chiv. I didn't realise we was doing... a ranking system, but there it is. Right, Sam, do you want to take us away with your debate, argument, statement why you believe Manchester United should keep Erik Ten Hag?
Do you want me to put something in the favour for the start, and then we go to Chivy, or do you want me to put something in the why you should go, and then we go to Dan? How do you want to do this?
I think you should do a bit of both sides. So one, in your heart of hearts, why you believe he should stay and be given time, etc. And then also the other side of the wall that you can see the reasons why Ineos would potentially pull the trigger.
I've got a couple of points that I want to hit on, so I'll just pick two for now. The first point is, and it's my weakest point because I don't think it should be a reason for why. So it kind of works for both, but the lack of good options, like in the alternatives. Like if we go through the list, I'm sure you're going to go through it later, so I won't ruin the thing. But if you go through the people, the only person on the list who has any sort of credibility where you're like, this guy comes in and he wins trophies is Thomas Tuchel. Everybody else either finished below Ten Hag, hasn't won as many trophies as Ten Hag, if on paper, if Ten Hag wasn't the manager and he was against these things, he'd be the standout candidate against them, but it's because of what's happened at United. That's why he's on his way out. So that's the positive, but I don't think it's a extremely convincing positive because me and Chivy have argued about before, you shouldn't hold on to a manager just because there's nobody else. Like it's the wrong reason to keep hold of a manager, as it were. So that's my weakest argument first. I just wanted to put that out there because it's not my strongest one. Why he should go is, again, feeds into the same thing. He's had 2 years, and the first year came in, he adapted his philosophy. He made game-changing substitutions, realised he couldn't play the way he wanted to, and then changed it and had like a more pragmatic setup, counter-attacking, and we were quite successful in this first season. Second season, he's tried to bring that style back in, realised again, hasn't got the players down to injuries, which is a separate point I'll touch on. Can't play it, and rather than going, I need to adapt this again and change it for these outside circumstances, he's refused the entire season, just continued on with his thing. And his reasoning apparently is, if he taught players a plan B, it would take too much time and he needs to be concentrating on plan A completely. So he doesn't want to have to teach them another one and it's too much information in the head because the first plan is so full of information and tactics and all that. That's his excuse, not my excuse. This is what
he said that.
Yeah. So this is what Athletic and stuff like that. Somebody asked him about it. So that's his reasoning. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. This is just what he told a journalist. So that, and then we've then seen what made it even worse. You think you could respect him for a little bit because he's like, all right, sticking to his guns, even if he goes down with the ship, he's still just doing it. He's then adapted it in the last 3 games of the Premier League season and the FA Cup final, which then proves he can fucking do this and he can adapt and he can change things and he can tweak things and make us not exactly a more stylish team or a better team, but beat teams. We beat Newcastle, team who's probably done better than us this season. Beat Brighton, who on their day are our bogey team. We get broken by them every time we play them. And then beat City in an FA Cup final. It shows he can do it. So what the fuck was he doing for the entire season? And then has decided, I'm going to tweak this in the last 3 games. That's baffling to me. So they're the kind of things, but there's a stronger points that I want to get into, but I want to let Dan have his say and Chivy have his say, and then I'll get into my stronger points on why he should stay.
Yeah, Chivy, I know your struggle, a lot of it has been how chaotic the style has been in certain games, like the Brentford one you always kind of reference with like 31 shots on goal, which is just ridiculous for any team. And the kind of argument that's out there at the moment is that you shouldn't just base his future off one game. So does that provide context in your kind of side of the debate, if you will? The way we've been playing for the majority of the season just isn't acceptable.
Yeah, I think that forms pretty much the basis of my argument, really. It's just the way we've played. Like I've said it quite a few times here, that managers, even the best managers, get it wrong sometimes, right? Like they get it wrong during games, but then it's the response to that. It's recognizing that you've made a mistake or you've gotten it wrong, and then trying to change things. This is what brings the best out of certain managers. And we just never saw that with Ten Hag, like throughout the season, until these last few games that Sam preference. Now, the playing style forms the basis of my argument because apart from us playing terrible, all our best performers, apart from Lisandro, who was injured from the season before, which was Rashford, which was Bruno Fernandes, which was Casemiro, even to a certain extent, Garnacho, our best performers were all this season because of the style of play that we had. We had a style of play that didn't get the best out of them. It exposed them. It exposed their weaknesses. And they looked shit because of that. And they played terrible because of the way we set up. It didn't allow them to express themselves. It didn't allow them to play to their strengths. And it happened repeatedly. Constantly. Like, I mean, we've gone through all the games. I mean, so many times after a match, we'll come on here and say, lads, that was the worst football I've seen. And then it's like, wait for next week. And then that was even worse. And then, it kept getting worse. And I was more than willing to give him time to change things because we saw that before. He's done that before where, we started off terrible. He adapted and changed the style. And then we started playing well. And I thought at the end of last season, we would build from that. But there was no building off of that at all until these last few games. And our top players suffered because of that. And this is what and I think for me, when I lost hope was because there was no end in sight to the madness that was going on. It was just like he kind of went into panic mode, and it was like he's not handling this pressure really well enough. And it just showed me like, well, what's the point? Like, what's the absolute point? I mean, if you've been given opportunities time and time again to change things and you don't, and it's affecting the players, the fan base is getting toxic, and it's just a terror. I mean, we ended up. This was probably one of our worst seasons, I think, or was the only season worse than this one.
No, this is the worst.
This was like the worst.
Yeah.
This was like just the worst season that I've ever seen. Now, I don't understand how, on paper, he saves his job. I really don't. I don't see it. Apart from obviously, now when we take the cups, well, I don't want to get into that now, but just to answer Nick's question, that just forms that literally was what just made me lose all hope in the manager because the in-game decisions were terrible. So we've seen some of the weirdest substitutions ever, like this season, and it was just a far cry from the season before. And there was, I mean, there were times when we're all turning on the players, but then when the manager speaks after a game, he's praising his players. Oh, we played well. We played dynamic. We played the best dynamic football in the league, and I'm like, he's losing it at this point. So this is what I don't understand. But that would form the basis of my argument going forward.
Yeah. There's a couple of things from each point, from Sam's points and from your points, Jimmy, that I'm going to come back to, like a couple of little nuggets that I want to discuss and lay out on the table and definitely get into. Dan, just provide us the context why you either believe he should stay or, talk about trophies if you want, talk about certain players, like in terms of youth players that he's brought through, anything you want, any angle you want to go with.
Yeah, so in the beginning when Ten Hag came to this club, he had the resume with him, the foundation he had. When he joined United before that 5 years, he maintained that win percentage with Ajax, like kind of a 73.5. It's not by chance. So it's not like for 1 or 2 years. It's like for continuous 5 years, he has maintained these.
Dan has done his research, man.
Dan's come with numbers. Dan's come with facts.
Yeah. Numbers, God damn.
God damn.
I could recall the stuff if we were talking about all these stats when Ten Hag joined the club. So but that doesn't prove him like what is happening with him now because in the last 2 years the percentage has dropped down drastically. I think that's even below the Ragnick era as well. So but what I would like to take from those 5 years is that like for a manager to maintain that level for 5 years, it's not like by chance because he has those stuffs in him, those decision makings, those player managements, and everything is involved in that. And the only thing is like he's not able to open up his qualities in this structure, in this environment, because he has to go through a lot of controversies when he came with Ronaldo, and Greenwood saga was still going on, and a lot of players not running around, and many disciplinary actions against players, Sancho thing. And on top of it, I keep that on top of everything, the injury concerns, especially this season. If you compare, everybody will agree with me that his main player is Martinez. One of the best signing of his era is Martinez, and with and without Martinez, if you see the stats, is like totally different. If you see with Martinez, the win percentage is more than 65. Without Martinez, is like dropped down to 50. And the iterations of starting 11 we have seen in the last season is uncountable. And with you can't even be consistent in FIFA with those level of changing the teams every game. So it has really affected the style of play of Ten Hag. But yeah, I agree his decision makings have been poor at times, but that with all the managers as well. So if you see with Pep also, he makes so many in-game decisions wrong. But we have seen that in bits and pieces that Ten Hag has in him, like in controlling games. I'm not saying like he has majority of games he has controlled. Maybe 3 or 4 games he has controlled well, but then I would be able to go against Ten Hag only when I see all the 11 players on their top level. Giving 100% out, and whatever happened this season, I would put first blame on the players, then the manager, because manager has no option to choose from the lot. He has to play again the same kind of a players. And positive side is I can see he is giving chances to those players who are performing well on the pitch, which was not the case with the previous
like Anthony.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. I mentioned about the Maino, Ahmad, and Ahmad, especially coming up on the levels. I could see him getting more game times in the next season. And with Garnacho, he's already kind of a regular starter. He's becoming like a Bruno Fernandes kind of a regular player. And those kind of youth players coming up the line and having players in the first team is really positive for us. So that defines like we are building something for the future. That's why I don't want to change him for now. Maybe give one more season and see with the new structure, with the new owners, and with the new support he has, and maybe kind of a couple of few more new players in the team. It would be very interesting to see what Ten Hag does with the proper 11, which he hasn't had in the last season.
Yeah, and one huge criticism, Sam, I know you're doing the kind of balance side of things, has been the style of play. Yeah. So if you're sitting here now and saying to a person who wants to get rid of him, and they say, well, what's the style of play going next season? Is he going to stick with what he did for the last 3 games of the season, or is he going to revert back to what he was trying for the majority, which was just utter chaotic nonsense?
Yeah, that's the big question. Like, I'll mix in your question with stuff sort of Dan said. So obviously the style of play he wants to do is this high press transitional style football, and he wants to be able to press really, really high, get the ball off quickly in high attacking areas, turn the ball over and just attack straight away, and turn it over and get on the attack straight away. But everybody has to press at the same time, at the same level of intensity. But the players we've got aren't suited for that. Rashford isn't suited for that. Bruno can at times, but then other times he's a bit erratic and he's stupid things he does. Garnacho isn't that guy. He's not a presser. Like he's a guy you play on the counter with. So the players he has going forward are not suited to this system. So in order to have that system, he has to have players like he had in Ajax, the players who are willing to press and are willing to put in that work, which we don't have at this point. The players that he has are suited for a counter-attacking style football. You saw it under Ollie in these, was it 14 games unbeaten, I think, under Ollie when he was the caretaker manager? We were absolutely destroying teams on the counter. We'd literally just sit up, sort of pressure, and the ball would go out to Marcus Rashford or someone, and it'd be in the back of the net, and we just absolutely destroyed teams. And I think he needs to look at the squad that he has currently. He might want to bring in other players. He might want to bring in players who are willing to do this, but the squad he has at the minute isn't built for the system that he's trying to play. However, the one positive he has brought through young players and youth players, and he's been using them effectively. And I think he should get credit for that because obviously the injuries are a massive factor. Like, the injuries are ridiculous. I know all managers have injuries. I know all teams have injuries. But was it 64 different separate injuries? I think the list was 14 different centre-back pairings. God knows how many defensive pairings. Like, it's insane. Like, fucking insane, the amount of stuff he's had to deal with. And I think he's adapted as well as he can. However, he has to look at his squad and be like, players like Ahmad, who've been screaming for minutes, we've saying it on this channel for God knows how long. He finally got it and he proved it. Why is he not getting more minutes when Anthony's been piss poor and you're sticking too much loyalty to these certain players? But then he's giving people like Mainu, he's recognised Mainu's the talent he is, and he's given him all the time in the world. Cam Waller's had time, but then Harry Amas has been sat on the bench and you're like, well, is he going to get minutes? We've got no fucking left backs. Is he getting minutes? So he's inconsistent with certain things. But then he's stuck to this idea of his style of play. I think if he's able to recognise this summer, if he does stay, if he's able to recognise this summer, right, I have this type of player and this type of profile of player, I'm not going to be able to play this transitional style. If I can adapt it and go back to the similar what I had the first season, there was still flaws in that system, but I think if you can strengthen that up, also get players back from injury so they're not so injured anymore, because the way we play, if we lose 3-4 top players, our team falls apart. Like, you lose Lissandro, the team falls apart. If you lose Bruno, the team's lacking. And I think he needs to mitigate that with squad depth. So we need to have players of similar quality, or if not, on the way up. So when then players drop out or they need rotating, he can bring them in, but then also adapt the style of play to the players that he has available. And I think that's the two things he needs to look at. If he goes in this summer and he refuses to adapt his style and he refuses to give players minutes who clearly deserve them, he's going to sign his own death warrant and then he'll be gone before Christmas. But if he can look at that and change that, I think fans would start to get behind him and understand it. I don't think any fan gives a shit whether we've got 90% possession or not. I think if it's exciting to watch and we win games, most fans would be fine with it. Look at Fergie. He was counter-attacking all the time. Ollie was some of the best football I've seen post-Fergie, and we didn't dominate the ball at all, but he beat Pep like 4 times in a row in a year. I think we'd all take that over, he's got 90% possession and we're playing in a horseshoe every game. Do you know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of stuff he needs to look at, but he should get credit for other things and have things looked at with injuries and stuff like that. So it's an either or. It's not all him, but he also needs to look at himself as well.
I think there's definitely a conversation about the injuries, which I want to pick up with Chivy as well. But I don't know about the style, because I look at the players that we've got and I think they are more suited to the style that he's going for. I think Rasmus Højlund, he bought for 70 million quid, is a transitional kind of striker. I think Garnacho works extremely hard off the ball. I think Bruno Fernandes is definitely a transitional. He's not a ball retention, tiki-taka, although he probably could play in that kind of system. I think Mason Mount in midfield.
He's not been there, though, has he? That's my point.
Yeah, but he brought him in.
But he's not been available. He's not been available. So if you haven't got him, you can't play it because he's not there. He's not there.
Mount plays in the same position as Bruno. Bruno is that kind of guy.
So why has he brought him in then? Why has he brought him in then?
Well, that's a conversation in itself. But what I'm saying is the players he's brought in and spent 400 million quid on, you can't turn around and say he's not got the players to do the style because he bought them in.
Yeah, but they've not been available. They've not been available.
Rasmus has been available. Bruno's been available.
Rasmus was injured for the first 6 games of the season, the back injury, so wasn't free.
But he's played a good chunk of games.
Yeah, but he's been injured. He's been injured most of the season. Anthony, definitely his decision, and he's fucked up there. Like, that should not be allowed. The fact that the amount of money
Anthony is as well.
The amount of money you spent on him, and you've played him to death, and it's not working, and you continue to do so. That's a strike against him, because that shouldn't be allowed to continue.
But obviously the injuries have played a massive part. I'm not disputing that whatsoever, because again, I'll go to you on this, Chive. You take Rodri out of City, they didn't win for 4 games. You know, an integral cog out of there, just one player, right? You go through any team.
Van Dijk last year.
Newcastle, Van Dijk, yeah. Newcastle, I've had a lot of injuries. They've dropped down the table. Chelsea likewise as well. But then how much percentage do you give towards that in terms of we finished 8th? So is that feasible, saying, well, we had 64 injuries, that's why we finished where we did? Or is it you still should have finished higher with the problems that you had?
So there's two things I'll come with now. When we played Bournemouth, when we played Fulham, when we played Brentford, even in the FA Cup when we played Coventry, when we played, was it Newell's County or whatever?
Newport
County, yeah. When we played all those teams, player for player, we had better players than they did, player for player, irrespective of who was playing for us. We did have injuries, but on paper, we're better in every department than all those teams. And they ragdolled us through the midfield easily. It would take two passes to get past that midfield, easy. That has nothing to do with injuries. Now, when it comes to winning games, like I've said it before, I'm sure we're all patient with managers, right? It wasn't just about the losses; it was the manner in which we lost. So it wasn't just about. So, like for example, I'll give a typical example. I watched Brighton's 4-0 loss to Roma. They got beat 4-0 away. If you watch the highlights of that game, if you go back and watch the highlights, you wouldn't believe that was the score. I mean, Brighton played Roma man for man. They just took their opportunities and scored. Now, at the end of the day, they lost. Fine and good. But as fans, this is sometimes when you lose a game, we're Man United fans. We've got a level of pride in us. I remember when we were like top. So I still have a little bit. I mean, I've been humbled recently, but I still have a level of pride. But then playing well gives you that hope because you know that there's something you're building on, and you might lose this game, you might lose the next game, but you know that, give it a year. You know that by the time we're playing the same system of playing a year, will be a lot better. Look at Arsenal, how they went. You could see the progression just go. They were playing badly, and then they started playing well. They're losing games, but they're still playing well. They go from 8th, and then they go to 5th, and then they go 2nd, and then they go 2nd, where they almost won it. So there is progression there. So this is what we fail to see at United. Right. So when it comes to injuries, all these teams that we played, this examples I gave you, were better than them man for man. But you couldn't tell that. I mean, we escaped Coventry. We're lucky with Coventry that goal got ruled out.
You could argue as well, Shivy. You could argue as well, certain games that we won didn't deserve to win them either. Like the Brentford game, Scott McTominay with 2 last-minute goals. They played us off the back.
Goals, yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So like this is what I'm saying about with injuries. I know we've had injuries, and of course it affects the team, but then we can't use that excuse all the time because there were certain times where player for player were better than them, and it's the manager's job to be able to get the players to play better. I don't believe players wake up every day and go on there and be like, I'm just going to be shit today, because it's not in their best interest at all. Nobody wants to be abused on social media by the fans. Nobody wants to lose their bonuses. They don't wake up and just choose not to be, and just choose to be unhappy and in a funk and be laughed at and be teased. They go for international breaks. Oh, their players, they meet up with their international compatriots while, enjoying themselves in other team, and then then they even drop out the team. So I don't believe that. I don't believe, players just choose to be crap. It's the system that they're placed in. Anyway, So the thing about the injuries is, for me, I get it, and it's really unfortunate. And we could see that when Varane and Lisandro came back, we could see the difference. So you can only use the injuries in an argument to go so far. But there were so many times when it wasn't about the injuries; we're just crap, we're just absolute rubbish. And when you go to, if I'm going to go on Sam's point about playing style. The style of football that we played is nothing reminiscent of what Ajax played at all. This new transitional style of play, I've never seen it before, where you press with 5 people and then you leave 1 defensive midfielder, and then you press only with the top players and the defense is back. The defense, they hold sorry, I'm thinking too fast, but you press with 5 players, there's 1 defensive midfielder and then the defensive line behind them, and it's just space. what was it? The second game against Tottenham.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Second game was against Tottenham. When I'm watching the game, and then I see Bruno pressing up, and then there's Casemiro, and I'm like, what the fuck is Cas doing up there?
There's 3 players going past him, isn't there? Like 3 Spurs players just.
As soon as I'm thinking it, the ball goes past, and I'm just like, wait, what? But this is only the second game in, so I didn't understand. It was games later that I started to think, well, this is actually a thing. So when you have a playing style like that, and all of us as fans can see it, the pundits can see it, everybody else can see it. And I don't know if he's a genius, or I think he's what you call an idiot savant, like a stupid genius.
Yeah.
Basically. That's what I thought.
It doesn't occur to him that his idea is not going to work. Like he just in his head, he's got this idea. And it's like it's going to work. It just needs time, and it's like he can't see that it's not working. And it's like he refuses to sort of deviate.
I'll try and run on my point really quickly. Just to touch on what you were saying about not having the players. If you don't have the players to play a certain style, then why are you even doing it in the first place? Just go back to what works and build up from there. And like you said, last season we played a very defensive style of play, but we hit them at the counter-attack. This is what we're known for. This is what we've always been known for. I mean, we've always played one of the best counter-attacking football styles in ever. So why not just keep on with that? And why make us suffer this whole season?
No, it's a great point you make. Again, I could talk about that for hours, just the style in itself and the glitches in the systems and why it's not worked, and injuries kind of come into that also as well. But Dan, I wanted to speak to you about the last game that we watched, because people say you're only as good as your last game. That obviously doesn't play into what we did for the season, but the team we played in Man City, they weren't lucky that we beat them. We beat him because he was the better team, in my opinion. I think Fulham was the better team.
Tactically, he outclassed him.
Tactically,
I don't think anybody would say that we're lucky in that game. Like, we made them look crap.
Yeah. And to make Man City, who are an absolute juggernaut, look like that, you have to have something. So the question is, Dan, in your opinion, why has it taken so long to get a performance like that? Obviously, it's nice because it happens when it most matters. 2 trophies in 2 years. But is that not just like a bit mad to you that you only just see it in the final and the rest of the season is as chaotic as it's been?
I think the problem here is like Ten Hag trying to bring his ideas and trying to bring his style of play to a set of players who are not capable enough to play that style of a play. So I'm still not sure whether it's the problem with the players unable to perform those tasks, or is it the players who are not sticking to the instructions of the manager? Because you've seen in a lot of games, like whenever we press high, or and when the ball is passed by, then the players are not tracking back; they are just jogging back. So that's not on the manager; that's on the player that they are not coming back.
Dan, sorry, can I just say something? Because I've heard that argument before, where I think Sam mentioned it before, saying something like that maybe the players are not listening to him, but then at the end of every game, he doesn't say that. He's praising the players for playing well. So I don't understand. There's definitely a gap somewhere. There's some sort of. But if you're saying that they're not listening to instructions, and then at the end of the game he's confirming that he's happy with what he's seen, then I don't understand where. I don't know what would your answer be to that?
But we know that whatever he speaks in the interview is not true, so that we know that, and he cannot even put the players under the bus in front of the media, so he cannot say that openly. That will definitely.
Jadon Sancho would not agree with that, because
Sancho put it public. Sancho put it public first.
Yeah.
So it's like a public versus public.
No. Sancho responded to what the manager said.
No, because he didn't name Sancho. Public. He named saying he wasn't available for training because he was a thing, and then Sancho put that out there. That's why he was punished for it.
No. He was asked about Sancho. He said he did. So what I'm saying is, he said that Sancho didn't train well. So he publicly, because you're saying that he wouldn't publicly speak bad about a player. That's what Dan said. And I'm saying that he did that publicly to Jadon Sancho.
Is that bad though, or is that just or is that the truth? Like, he didn't train well.
How do we know it's the truth? No, because remember when that happened, there was all this talk about preferential treatment, and there was a thing about Anthony and Jadon Sancho. Like it was known that there was Ten Hag was showing preferential treatment to certain players. Now, and if you're Jadon Sancho, I'm just saying hypothetically now, if you're putting in the work in training, and then somebody else isn't where you feel, you're working hard, and then you're publicly being slayed for it, when you know deep down that you're actually working hard. We saw him in the preseason now. This was only like two games into the season.
But Chivy,
we saw Jadon Sancho in well, let me finish. We saw Sancho in preseason, and we all said it here. If we go back and watch it, we all said he was the one. He looked one of the brightest in preseason. He looked sharp. He looked everything. So, like, I'm just looking at it from my point of view. Like, if I'm putting in the work and I'm being publicly admonished for that, I would stand up for myself. So, but let's not get too far off. I'm just saying, just to Dan's point, saying he wouldn't publicly talk about players. He did that to Jadon.
But the thing with Jadon is, this is not the first time he's been criticised for this. He was criticised for this under Pep. He was criticised for this under Southgate. He's been criticised for this at Dortmund, but he performed well on the pitch at Dortmund, which is why he kept starting. But they had to have a guy get him up in the morning, take him to training, had to buddy him up with Haaland, because Haaland has professionalism, because he was staying up late and not like looking after himself. So this is not a guy who's just been picked out of the thing. He's got a history of doing this. And Ten Hag gave him a break for 3 months to get his head together, to come back and reintegrate into the squad. He gave him plenty of opportunities. This is not a guy this is not out of nowhere like Bruno. He's just suddenly punished Bruno. Do you know what I mean? This is a guy who's got a history of this, who he gave an opportunity to, and he's still chucked it in his face. So I don't believe the thing that he's training hard, because he's clearly had a history of not doing that. He's been doing that thing for years. So I tend to side with the manager on that. Had he picked out any other player, you'd have a point, Chivy, but this guy's got a history of doing this.
The only thing, whatever is visible to us is what visible to me is we have seen before that the break between Ten Hag and Sancho, that Ten Hag helped Sancho to come out of his personal difficulties.
Yeah, and he should get credit for that. He should get credit for that, for doing that.
I'm just trying to say, like, when I see a person who is helping another player, and then they both are fighting in public, so that something is missing in the middle, like what that caused this Cold War to come out in the media. So that's, I'm not sure, but I'm still not unable to believe that when a manager helped the player privately, and this has turned up into something public. So definitely something bad has happened between them. I'm not sure who is wrong, but yeah. To be honest, in every performance-wise, a manager cannot blame the players publicly as a whole, as a team. When it comes to pinpointing on singular player, I think that's something they have some issues behind the doors, personal issues behind the doors. So, yeah.
Sorry, I threw you off. You were making a point earlier, Dan, and I threw you off. Sorry about that.
Even I forgot.
No. We can recircle back to it. It's absolutely fine. I want to read out some comments anyway, because there's quite a few. So yeah, the Don saying Ten Hag must stay for one more year and evaluate his job. If we're going to hire a new manager, it needs to be someone we all trust, not too sure who'd leave in 18 months. Charlie Mom saying that is why I've asked the question: was this really Eric Ten Hag's tactics, or was it Wilcox telling Ten Hag to play like that? Well, that was something that was kind of circulating, wasn't it? True Cushman says the teams we drop points to is disgraceful. Palace, Bournemouth, Burnley, all at Old Trafford is disgraceful. Even with the injuries, we shouldn't be dropping points to these teams, especially at home. Every team's got injuries. Also, it's clear Eric Ten Hag has not listened to medical and played injured players, which put them on the shelf. Varane is the best example of this, playing him with a concussion. Danny's saying Arsenal were awful under Arteta, hence finishing 8th twice. It's a myth. People could see Arsenal playing well despite 8th. All fans wanted him out. That was 8th twice with no trophies. Eric Ten Hag has 2 in 2 years. Not the pro guy saying Eric Ten Hag is shit. No further context needed. Just a Ten Hag.
Let's end the debate. Let's end the debate. It's over. The guy's got it.
Stop the show.
Yeah.
He's saying Ten Hag is a poo emoji, apparently.
Right,
so take that for whatever you will. Gray's saying it's because it was the FA Cup final in relation to the performance. Say what you want hypothetically about Sancho. He tangibly was scraps under Ole, Rangnick and Ten Hag. Written publicly, trained poor at City, Dortmund and United. Sancho is lazy. And then True Customer says, agree with Chivy on Sancho. Anthony was putting up stinkers. Same to Rashford. He never got game time considering he was played on both side wings and false nine during pre-season. Clear favouritism there. I think I have a million thoughts how I could, with each point that you have all made, and I could go back and forth. But if I do that, we'll be here for the next fucking hour. So I'll keep myself out of it on that one.
Just very quickly with the Sancho thing, I think time will tell. The truth will come out at some point, and then everybody then would all know, and then I'll know if I was wrong or if you guys were. But time will tell. I just think that we don't know the facts, and we're just going off what. And I don't really like to believe a lot of like media stuff, so we're just going off what scraps of.
It's all speculation, isn't it? Like when players don't play well or the drops and stuff, we don't actually know why because we don't watch training and we're not there. So it's always speculation.
Yeah. Sam, let's discuss trophies because that is a very valid argument on Ten Hag's side. Look, the league position finishing third and then 8th is obviously a massive drop off. But beating Man City in the fashion that we did, we've already kind of graced past, and then beating Newcastle in the final as well. 2 trophies in 2 years. A lot of people say football is all about trophies. You defined on what you do there. So do you think that one victory alone could convince Ineos? Because let's have it. If Ten Hag would have lost that final, he would have been gone, right?
Yeah, he's gone.
He's gone. Straight up, he's gone. So do you think now that's enough to sway their opinion? Or do you think that would be too kind of reactionary in that sense?
I think it would be reactionary. I'd like to think Ineos know what they're doing and they prepare and think about things properly and do it systematically, logically, and pros, cons, all that sort of stuff. I'd like to think that because if they do it reactionary and it's like, he's won a cup final, new contract, sign him up, then that's the kind of Glazer Ed Woodward thinking in it, where he's signing Phil Jones to a new deal to retain his value, that kind of thinking, which is just ridiculous. Ineos are very smart in the way they operate. I hope they are anyway, but from everything we've seen so far, they seem to be on the right track, but we won't know until it all comes together and happens. So I think it'd be very reactionary. I think if beforehand they were thinking he's definitely getting a sack no matter what, they should just stick with the decision and do it. Because you shouldn't let one cup final affect your entire decision making you've been thinking about for however long the past couple of months. But also, if they were on the fence or they were still like debating it, that's a thing in the tick column because he clearly is capable of adaptability and changing his mind and being able to beat teams and not sticking so stubbornly to his system. Mm-hmm. He's able to beat a top team who've just won the Premier League, who won a treble the year before. I don't believe City had any injuries either. I think they had a full team, I believe. Can't remember anybody. Yeah. So it's not like it was an injury-ravaged City and stuff like that. So he's capable of doing it. So he's clearly got something there. We saw it last season, the season before. Like he can adapt on the fly and change things and get wins and stuff like that. Mm. And the 2 trophies are also important. And I think for fan sentiment as well is really important for trophies because you look at how the fans reacted before that game and after that game, like how happy they were, the joy that it brought. You saw it on the players' faces. Højlund's in tears, Rashford's in tears, Kobbie Mainoo's nicking bucket hats off fans, and he wore it for the rest of the night. Like the players loved it, fans love it, and it's probably one of the most joyous moments we've had post Fergie. I would argue that the Liverpool game and that game are the 2 moments I think where we've been like, and Paris maybe they probably the top 3 post Fergie, and it means a lot to the fans. And when you look at it just sort of purely on paper, he's won 2 trophies in 2 years. And I don't want to compare, because we had this debate, me and Chivy, about progress and trophies and stuff the other day. So I don't want to like rehash all ground. But you look at Arteta, he's been there for, I think, was it 5 years we agreed? I think. Yep. 1 trophy. Yes, he's progressed. And yes, he's gone from 8th, 5th, 2nd. And it's like, what would you rather do? As a fan, I do want to see my team progress and I want to see it like rocket up the table. But if you're winning trophies and nights like days like that at Wembley against City, in the way that we did it, days against Liverpool at Old Trafford, the way that we did it, that means a lot to me. It means a lot. And then I understand the consistency argument that you want to finish second, you want to be in the Champions League, you want to be competing and be along Europeans elite, which is nice. But those days mean a lot to me, and they mean a lot to the fans. And I think Ineos realised that. But it shouldn't be their be-all and end-all decision. Like, they should make the decision based on the entire 2 years he's been here, the pros and cons, have a conversation with him, ask him about certain decisions that he's made, certain things that he's done, ask him about his adaptability, ask him about if he's willing to relinquish control on transfers. All that stuff needs to come into account. All of it needs to come into account before a decision's made. They shouldn't just go, well, he's won an FA Cup, so keep him. Like, I think that would be naive for Ineos, and they don't seem like the type.
One side I really want to get into, Javier, and then I'll go to you on this as well, Dan. And I was speaking about it earlier on today on the afternoon show. What if Ineos get this wrong? Because everyone's putting all this faith, and it sounds good, fantastic that they've brought in these guys, Wilcox and Brailsford, and on paper again it all sounds absolutely amazing. Mm-hmm. What you look at what's happened at Nice, some people argue they've taken him up, but they've also a lot more substantial investment in a team, so there's a lot more money being pumped into him. The league position's been fluctuating up and down. They've had 6 different managers in 5 years. If you look at what's going on there, like many board directors chopping and changing and stuff like this. The recruitment's been criticised before as well. They was bringing in like Aaron Ramsey and these kind of guys. So based off that, I know United's a completely different club. What if they make this decision? We're back here in a year's time, and then we've got to reset again.
What decision? Like, regardless of whether it's...
If they get rid of Ten Hag and they say, right, this is the new guy, and it goes forward a year's time, we're back in the same position again. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
then we'll look
the grass isn't always greener on the other side, is what I'm saying, basically.
I know. But this is why it's such a huge decision. I mean, I remember you and I were saying that we don't envy them at all, like being trust with this decision to make. But this is why you have to trust your gut. And the difference, I suppose, with Ineos and Man United is in this situation is that the people we have now, I really don't know the structure of the people that they have behind at Nice making the decisions there. But if you have Dan Ashworth, if you have Omar Barada, if you have Jason Wilcox, those 3 people, and you also have the Jean-Claude, whatever his name is, Blanc, I think his name, Jean-Claude.
Van Damme.
Jean-Jacques. Yeah, Van Damme, basically. I would imagine that there will be a lot of thought process going into the next choice. Now, they're just going to have to stick to their guns with whatever decision they make. If they choose to sack him and hire someone else, then they're going to have to back it up somehow, or it's rinse and repeat again. And I hate to use this example, but this is what we've seen at Real Madrid until they got their man to win all those Champions Leagues. They kept chopping and changing. And you do that. This is what happens. Well, obviously, we hope that's not the case. And we hope that whoever they get, if he actually goes, would be the right person to sort of do it. And I'll just quickly touch on the trophies thing. That was probably one of the best moments that I can remember having in recent years as a Man United fan.
Yep.
Winning the City game. And it wasn't just about winning the trophy, it was just the manner in which we did it.
Yeah.
Like, it was, chess match. I mean, it was...
The people who scored as well, Garnacho and Menu. Like,
2 19-year-olds. Like.
Yeah, and then also with I think it was the quarterfinal win against Liverpool as well. Like, that was an amazing,
That's the best thing I've ever seen at Old Trafford by far.
Oh yeah. There's nothing that comes close to that.
At the same time, it's almost like a once in a lifetime. Well, I won't say once in a lifetime thing, but it's not an event that happens all the time. And Jose won 2 trophies as well in like 2 seasons. How long was he here? 2.5 seasons?
I think so.
Yeah,
2.5 seasons.
Yeah.
Jose, yeah. He won 2. I'm not even counting the Charity Shield because I know
he does. He counts.
He's also won that. Yeah, he counted. Yeah.
So does that, by the way.
So I agree with your point, Sam, in terms of like they shouldn't just make this based on, he's won a trophy, let's just go ahead and just give him the thing, because I mean Van Gaal won FA Cup as well. Like there's so many, there's context to every little thing, and I don't want to take this achievement away from Ten Hag because it's a massive achievement to do it. I mean, it was the impossible job, basically, and I don't want to take it away. And I know recently I said the FA Cup was a cheap high, and then thinking about it later on, it's not. It's the second most prestigious cup in England at the moment. So
oldest cup competition in history as well.
Yeah. So I would more than gladly take that back, but we can't just that can't be the be on and end all. I mean, we can't forget what happened for the duration of the season. I mean, we had to endure
Champions League campaign as well.
Yeah, we had to endure all of that, like going out in the group stages and all that kind of crap. And I don't want to see that again, even if it means not winning the trophy. I just want to see, standard progression going forward. So that's how I feel about the trophy stuff.
Dan, talk to me about going into this summer. Whatever happens with the manager, the recruitment. What's your expectation and feeling as a fan now going into this kind of almost one of the most important periods in a long time in it at United, I'd probably say.
Yeah, my expectation would be like if you, first make the decision clear about the manager, whether he is staying or not. Just clear it out as soon as possible and bring in the new man and give him some time. I mean, at least the summer window to make his decisions, because now we have like the players from kind of 10 previous managers. So the new manager will need some time to settle in with his kind of players and his kind of style. And the one important thing I would like to see is like start doing the deals from now itself. It's not like you just wait for the transfer window. Just make the deals happen, and now just talk to the players and make the soft signing, and then once the window opens up, then bring in the player. And your players who you want to be in the club before the game, before the next season starts, should be there well before the
on pre-season. On pre-season,
from last so many years, we are not seeing the players we buy are playing the pre-season. So they just go even spend more than like 2 to 3 games, miss more than 4 or 5 games in the Premier League. So that's where it will define our next season as well. When we are prepared at the beginning of the season, it will make the whole difference, because in the so many years we are dropping points in the beginning itself. So that's all because we are not putting the players we bought, and we're not putting the style, and that chemistry is not there at the beginning of the season itself. So that's one other thing I would like to bring in, and I hope that the people which are there now in charge of the club, they will look into this and make the decision perfect. But with the manager also, I think it should be done very soon, whether we are sticking with Ten Hag or not. Talking about the last game, I can see the response of the players in that game. You can see the bravery of Amrabat, Martinez, Varane, the Bissaka, and Dalot. So all these players responded, and when the unit as 11 players respond together, we have seen the difference on the pitch and fight for the club. We could see that they are fighting for the badge, and that was missing the whole season. And I'm not sure what Ten Hag did before the game, maybe kind of a good speech or something. But we would like to see that on more regular basis in the coming season. But yeah, we also need to get rid of those players who are not fit in this in the style of play. Maybe kind of players who have crossed their prime.
It's a weird kind of balance at the moment, because we're all sat here saying you need to make a decision, right? I think with the majority of people would probably agree with that. Like, we've got a transfer window coming up, players are going after the Euros, like this needs to happen soon, whatever it is. But at the same time, you're like, well, don't rush your decision. So it's obvious to me, at least, that FA Cup win has set him back, definitely.
Yeah.
That he's won that, he's beat City, and they're thinking now, the emotion of the fans,
in the way he did it. The way he did it as well is another thing. In the way he did it,
all the players at the end cried. I honestly, I cried at the end of that game. I swear to God, when the camera panned to Rashford and Mainu, and Rashford's crying, and Mainu, Garnacho, and Ten Hag's okay. So things like that, fans don't forget.
Well,
Aaron
would hate you. Yeah, Aaron. Yeah, did you tell Aaron?
no one could tell me anything on that day. Despite regardless, I had a City fan trying to give me shit behind me. I think
me and Chivy was stood up for the entire game, I believe. Like my missus was telling me to sit down, and I couldn't sit down. Like that second half, I was just stood up, just going, just fucking blow the whistle, please.
Mate, the last 10 minutes, I was like, I cannot watch this. I can't deal with it. My mate must have had about 26. He's like, I can't watch it. I've got to go outside and just, you know what I mean?
Listen, I literally just moved house, and I'm surprised like the neighbors didn't call the police on me because I had to smoke. So I was literally standing at the window like,
yeah, he was in the shade. Like,
looking through your own house, just looking through your own house.
Yeah. But that's how it gets you. Like the emotion that's riding on it, everything going like there was so much playing on that one game, and the fact that he won it really, really does change the landscape, in my opinion. And I think it's fascinating. Whichever way they go, it's going to be massive breaking news. It's going to be huge.
I'll say this as well. Like, you guys know how much I was so done, like, with him leaving.
Yeah.
But that game, it was like I can't hand on heart say like if he goes, we made the right decision. Honestly, like I can't.
You'd be gutted, wouldn't you? You'd be gutted if he went. Like after that, you'd be like.
Back of my mind, I'll be like, we might have missed something here. At the back of my mind, even though, like, every time I think like that, Brentford, like it kind of brings me back. But like he's made a massive, and like I said, it's not just a win. It was just a money. Because what just annoys me is that he's shown us that I can do this thing.
That's my point.
It's just like, so why?
That's my major point. Is like you're capable of doing this. You have the ability to do this, and you haven't done it until now. Like, why? I
think there's so many factors with it, though.
Yeah. Sorry, go on. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, there's so many factors going in. I mean, honestly, you could write a fucking book about it. Even the individual stories with the certain players only just getting back, like Varane and Lisandro, seeing them for the first time for God knows. Yeah. How long? One last ride.
Leadership, those guys.
Them two at the back, bro. Like, just.
Amrabat showing up as well. Amrabat suddenly showing like he was the World Cup Amrabat. Like, where the fuck did that come from?
Called him the prime Gattuso. He said he played like a prime Gattuso in that game. Kobe Mainoo.
You know what I think? Yeah. I think Dalot feeds off that energy as well because whenever,
he loves it. He fucking loves it.
It reminded me of remember the Liverpool game last season when we beat them 2-1. When they're all like high-fiving and Dalot is like, you could see it was the same thing this game as well. Like he was fired up, and so players kind of feed off all that sort of energy, and then the leadership that both of them bring together. Come on, man.
Oh man, this club, it doesn't know how to take you through the fucking ringer, doesn't it? It's like, honestly, it's like a fucking roller coaster, man.
But it's what we do, man. It's what we do.
Go on, Dan. What did you say?
And tactically also, you could see Ten Hag has made some good decision, like playing only Rashford and Garnacho up top, and fill the midfield with so many players like Amrabat, Maino, Bruno Fernandes, and Dalot also joining in the midfield. Just crowded that midfield so that City could not play their moves, and it was too late for them to bring on Doku, and that's what the last goal was. If they could have, their play was only towards the corner, and I think that's where Ten Hag has outparked Pep in the tactical wise, and he has done his homework. So that even Ole used to do the same thing. Like whenever we play kind of a games against
4 times, he beat him.
Yeah, so he used to play kind of Bruno on the wings, and so that Bruno can support in the midfield and crowd that midfield so that they cannot play their game.
By the way, Wan-Bissaka as well had Doku on toast as well.
Yeah.
Like absolutely shut that boy down. I know he got the goal, but that goal I don't think should have gone in. I think Onana should have done a lot better.
That wasn't Wan-Bissaka's fault either.
No.
Yeah. I think we did the analysis too early, like. Because we should. There's so much.
That was emotional.
By the way, that second goal might be my favorite goal, like a team goal post Fergie. Like that team goal, everything about it. Like Kobe Mainoo starts it and he fucking finishes it, and he's like the pass lays off to Rashford, the Rashford pass switch to Garnacho, the no look pass from Bruno, and I think don't Wan-Bissaka dummy it as well, like. Bruno looks it.
He takes the runner away, innit? He takes the runner away.
He takes her, and then Bruno looks it, and Kobe Mainoo just opens his body up. And I could watch that on repeat. I never get bored of it. Like, I never get bored of it.
I'm not could. I have watched that. I've watched that goal so many times. But that in itself was the prime example of the tactics that he set up. Stifle in the middle. They wouldn't back in the middle with the defender. Corbett to Bruno. Bruno back to Corbett. Outside of the foot pass to Rashford. Garnacho had space for that full 90 minutes on that right-hand side.
Gvardiol had a
Rashford
fucking
struggled
nightmare.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rashford struggled a little bit against Walker in certain battles, but Garnacho against Gvardiol had him on toast, mate. And the switch, the space was on straight away, you could see it. And the amount of space that opened up. Kovacic didn't track his man. Bruno arrived on the edge of the box. No look pass. Perfect. Inch perfect fucking pass. No look pass.
Mainu finished it like he was in a training game. It looked like he didn't even give a shit. He got the ball and just went and passed it and walked away like it was nothing. You're like, this kid, man. This kid.
Composure was, but the tactics, like, it was just, I've never seen it executed that way, where you sit back. I've seen Real Madrid go one player down, and I think they still beat, it was a Champions League game, I can't remember who they played, but they went one player down, and then they won 1-0. But it was nothing like this, like, in terms of sitting back and letting them come to you, and it was just like Foden. They had Foden, Bernardo, De Bruyne in the team, and they couldn't find a way through. And what he did with the wings was he set a trap, because we were so narrow. Vardio was bombing forward, and Garnacho just had acres. So right behind, it's just put it behind, easy. And he just had acres. Like, oh, mate, I could talk about that game for
we've slightly gone down.
Yeah, that Rashford cross just reminds me of Scholes.
Yeah, the pass. No,
it's a hell of a pass. Hell of a pass.
I've seen that before from him, though. He's done that. Or was it? He was on the end of it with Pogba against Spurs. I think it might have been.
No, he did. Remember, he did it against Liverpool in the FA Cup.
Was it Liverpool?
It was to Greenwood.
Ah, yes.
Do you remember? He sends it over to Greenwood.
That and then switch got it in his locker.
Robertson was like, "What the fuck?" Like, and Robertson, and he tries to put Greenwood off. He's screaming at him, and then Greenwood just puts it in there. We win that 2-1. Greenwood and Cavani.
We've gone slightly off tangent here because we've got lost in the emotion of things, much like the United players have for the majority of the season. Look, it's not going to be a final debate, and it's not going to be a final say in it, because everyone has different opinions on it, including you guys in the chat. Yeah, so we put a poll up at the start, obviously saying should he stay or should he go. 77% said he should stay. 23% said he should go. So, probably slightly, obviously slightly towards him staying, but I also understand the other side of it as well. Yep. Like I said, it's never going to be decided. People have different opinions, and there's plenty of factors that go into it, and not one person's right and not one person's wrong. But please make a fucking decision on it, and then we can definitely talk about it. Just the last thing I wanted to do, because I think the camera is going to die as well. Just to end the show, what I'm going to do is, and people in the chat, you can get involved in this as well. I'm going to name some managers. You guys stay quiet until I say a better manager, okay?
Than Ten Hag.
If you think the manager... better than Ten Hag, yeah. Right. So I'm going to go through the list. Just stay quiet. And if I say one that's better, say yes, okay? Sweet.
Yeah, so that's manager to replace Ten Hag if
who's a better manager to replace him effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Cool with that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jesse Marsh. Ralph Ragnick. Oh, me 1 second. My camera's going to let me switch.
Why is there two of me? This is horrible.
There we go. Can we zoom in a little bit? Is that okay? Yeah, Sam, is my camera angle all right?
Yeah. No, you're all good. You're all good.
Okay, cool. Thomas Frank. Ruben Amorim. Graham Potter. Lopetegui. McKenna. De Zerbi.
Yes.
De Zerbi, yes. Chewy's gone with yes with De Zerbi. Better coach. Okay, hold that thought. Southgate. Sam, if you want to scream, go for it.
let me just mute my microphone so that make sure no noise comes through that.
Poch. No. Allegri. No. Nagelsmann. Hey. Yeah. Dan's going with Nagelsmann.
I'm on the knife edge there. I'm on the knife edge, but I'll stay Ten Hag. I'll stay Ten Hag.
Loyal to the soil.
Do we only just get one, or can we say multiple?
Because you've got as stay silent, you see a better one. If you think it's better one, then yeah, just let me think it. Tuchel.
On paper, yes. On paper,
yes. So you go, that'll break the silence.
However,
so, Chive, you've gone with...
if I made the decision, I wouldn't. But on paper, he's a better manager.
Okay. So Chivy's gone with De Zerbi. Dan's gone with Nagelsmann. Sam, you've gone with Tuchel. Out of them three managers, who would you pick? If they were the only three available now, and Ineos pull the trigger on Ten Hag, out of them three, which one would you go for?
I can't keep Ten Hag.
No.
Okay.
Because you said Tuchel better. So, out of them three,
I'd go Tuchel because there's no option out there that I would take to build a long-term plan. So I'd take him for now and see if we can win trophies.
I'll go with Nagelsmann because we have seen what he can do. But yeah, he definitely struggled with some of his recent performances. But yeah, we have seen the background of him, like how he plays, the style of play. So I think that can bring some difference to the club.
Chiva.
Tough one between De Zerbi and Tuchel. I don't know well though. No, because I said I said yes for De Zerbi and then yes for Tuchel.
No, but I'm saying, well, you got the option out of three because Dan said yes for Nagelsmann, Sam said yes for Tuchel, and you said yes for De Zerbi.
I'll go De Zerbi because Sam said Tuchel. So
okay. So if that got announced tomorrow that they let Ten Hag go and De Zerbi's the new coach, would you be confident in that?
You mean the option? Will the United go for that?
Yeah, that was a question to you, Chiva.
Sorry.
I was like, is he asking me? Is he asking Chivy? I was like, I didn't know.
You know the memes you see, like the science things above the head when they're just drawing equations. Yeah. Just like that.
Regardless, I mean, the only person I'll be confident in is Pep. So it doesn't matter who we sign. Like
he's just beat him in the final.
Well, he lost to him like how many times before then? So.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Forget about that.
Why have you brought that up, Chivy? Why are you bringing the mood down?
Yeah.
Don't forget, like he beat him in 12 seconds last year anyway. So but if I mean, I'll be nervous with anyone, absolutely anyone. Like it has to be someone like Pep or something before I'll be like, okay, calm. But I would have my reservations. It's uncharted ground. But you know, I don't know. I'll still be nervous, regardless of who it is.
I think that's a good place to leave it. I'm just going to read out some comments, just because there's quite a few. My Damned United says, "I'm with you, Danny. Erik Ten Hag believes in himself, but also believes in the club. He said this in his accent. I'm guessing he loves the club. I think that's what he was going for. Seriously though, we could search a long old time to find a better match. That's an interesting point. In what universe is Man United struggling to beat a League 2 side and bottling a 3-0 lead to a Championship team? Come on, guys, we cannot be entertaining this. Players bottle games, not managers, mate, says My Damned United. Richard Hawkins saying, I'm happy with them to make decisions, but they are human beings. Danny saying, if players were consistent under previous managers, then you can blame Ten Hag, but they aren't. Until they're cleared and Erik Ten Hag gets his players, results will be the same. He proved at Ajax he can play great football. Charlie saying Edison Cavani's announced his retirement from football. What a player! Oh, mate.
I think it's international. I think it's international only. I think he's still playing club football.
Even still, the memories Cavani give me. Oh, that
if we got him in his prime, mate, I might have had a favourite every United player if we got him in his prime.
You love a guy, just his mannerisms and
ridiculous.
The way he is, and just he's a
in his prime, probably one of the best strikers on the planet. Like he was unbelievable.
Prabhav in the chat saying, hey folks, hello Prabhav, I hope you're doing well, mate. My Damned United, Richard Hawkins said, sorry, I was telling him about how I'd gone to Old Trafford since 1966, and I was telling him about watching Best, Folks, Styles, Law, and Charlton. Wow, that's mad, isn't it? That is mad.
Oh, shit.
Seen
how old are you, Rich? Fucking hell.
66.
Is he a member?
No, he's been going since 66, he said.
No, is he a member of the thingy?
Yeah, yeah.
No, I'd say so 2 things. 1, yeah, he's a real Red Ultra member, and 2, he is 66. So he's seen it all, quite literally. The chant, we've seen it all, we won the lot.
He's the living proof. Living proof.
Yeah. Last few comments.
Much respect, man.
Absolutely. Harry Davison, hopefully they're also deciding who the next manager could be rather than just Ten Hag in or out. Should be debating whether to go Ten Hag, Poch, De Zerbi or Tuchel. Well, we covered the majority of that. We didn't really talk about Poch, to be fair. Just come back from playing some football, 38 Celsius, random guy. Where do you live, random guy?
Yeah.
Are you with Dan in India?
With India.
Yeah.
I say, what is it in India, Dan? What temperature is it now? Like 48 or something ridiculous?
Yeah, I think it's more than 45, 48.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
You can see me sweating a bit.
And then just the last...
with a cooler in front of my face.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I will not survive in India, mate. I'm telling you right now. I would have loved Zlatan in his prime, says Dan Errington. Danny's saying Tuchel abrasive, and if people thought Ten Hag fell out with people, watch Tuchel piss everyone off. Tuchel will piss me off just by being appointed, says my damn United. And yeah, we'll just leave it at that. Big up all you legends in the chat. We really, really do appreciate the interaction. All the members as well, equally. Absolute legends. Make sure you drop us a follow on all the socials. Instagram's popping off at the minute. TikTok's popping off at the minute. Twitter's got plenty of banter and interesting stories and reports and journalism on there as well. So check them all out and hit that subscribe button as well. We're on 5,172 with 28 subs off 5,200. So if you are live and you haven't subscribed, or if you're watching this later on, I'm looking at that camera. I'm not even on that camera. In this one, hit that subscribe button. Thanks to Chive, Dan, and Sam. It's been a very interesting debate. Let's see what happens over the next 24 hours. Ineos could pull the trigger, and we'll be here live discussing it. So turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And we'll all see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Thanks for joining us.